Now that we have looked at the three main types of for-profit organizations, in this module, we're going to look at social enterprises. Now, although the term social enterprises has slightly different meanings and different legal requirements in different countries, in general, it's simply talking about a form of business that has a social purpose. So in this case, we're talking about an organization that aims to improve human, social, or environmental well-being. So let's dive right in. Okay, social enterprises are businesses. They operate under professional standards regarding legal existence. They have proper accounts, management structure, reporting procedures, etc. But the most important thing is that the social aim for a social enterprise always takes priority over other aims such as growth or profits or maximizing sales, which are otherwise the typical objectives of for-profit organizations. On the contrary, for-profit social enterprises do aim to make a profit, but they want to make sure that they are doing it without compromising their social purpose. For-profit social enterprises are not separate to for-profit organizations. In fact, for-profit social enterprises can take the form of any of the three models of for-profit organizations that we have already looked at, such as your sole traders, partnerships, and companies. But social enterprises can often also have one of several other models of business organization, including cooperatives, microfinance providers, and public-private partnerships. In this module, we'll go into detail about each of these models, but in terms of learning objectives, you simply need to understand the main features of these three types of for-profit social enterprises, so no need to worry too much about the minor details. Okay, the first type of for-profit social enterprise we're looking at are cooperatives. Cooperatives are a type of partnership where the business is owned and run by all the members that are participating in the cooperative. But unlike regular partnerships, cooperatives can have more than 20 members. Each member participates actively in the running of the business. To sound a bit vague, let me give you some examples. There are many different types of cooperatives. Firstly, you have financial cooperatives. A financial cooperative is a financial institution where ethical or social aims are the foremost priority over profits. For example, credit unions are a type of financial cooperative that aim to lend money at lower rates of interest and provide other non-lending services at lower costs than you would typically expect at banks. Other types of financial cooperatives might provide finance or loans to members of the cooperative who otherwise might be unable to borrow money. A housing cooperative. A housing cooperative provides housing for all of its members as opposed to providing rent for private landlords. A housing cooperative works where a business owns, for example, an apartment building and gives each member one housing unit in the building to stay. And so the members own the building through the cooperative, and any additional income from the business, or what we call surpluses, are invested onto the buildings and its operations so that the cost for each individual member is lowered. On top of that, housing cooperatives have a lot of control over who becomes a member and who can't. So they can ensure that all members are agreeing to the rules and conditions of living in the housing cooperative, and this increases the likelihood of social harmony in the building. A worker cooperative. A worker cooperative is a business that is owned and operated by the workers themselves. A worker cooperative doesn't pay higher wages or salaries to the managers, and its focus is entirely on providing good employment to its workers. We often see worker cooperatives emerge just as a business is about to fail. And so the workers, fearful that they are about to lose their jobs, take over the business. They sack the managers or drastically reduce their pay, and they reinvest all their profits into the business. A producer cooperative. So a producer cooperative is where many groups of producers collaborate at certain stages of the production process to make production more efficient. For example, in agriculture, we often see grape farmers have a cooperative wine production facility for all members of the cooperative. Or olive producers have a cooperatively owned press. So with producer cooperatives, the aim is usually to maximize the utilization of an expensive piece of equipment, which otherwise individual members by themselves are unable to afford. At other times, cost efficiency can only be achieved when production occurs at a large scale, and so many producers will pool their resources and their money together to rent out or use a common production facility at the same time to obtain cost efficiency. And finally, a consumer cooperative. Now this one is interesting. A consumer cooperative is a cooperative that provides a service to its customers who are also part owners of the business. For example, we often see in grocery stores in the US or in Europe, individual customers becoming a member to a consumer cooperative, which entitles them to purchase groceries at a cooperative, which often sells at a lower price than for-profit grocery stores. So there's no need to memorize all of these cooperatives. The key idea is that in each case, the cooperative aims not to make a profit, but the focus is to focus on a social aim. Usually, the cooperative sells or offers a product or service that is lower in cost than most retail producers and typically as close to the cost price as possible. At the same time, this is challenging because if the prices are too low, cooperatives run the risk of failure by not reinvesting in the business or not having a significant financial backup during difficult periods such as when the economy crashes, which would incur unexpected expenses. Either way, cooperatives generally aim to make profits, but that's not their key goal. It's usually a more socially driven goal of meeting certain needs or desires. The second type of for-profit social enterprise we're looking at is microfinance providers. As the name implies, the idea of a microfinancer is to provide small amounts of money to those who traditionally wouldn't have access to it. These include, for example, low-income individuals or families in rural communities where getting a bank loan might be particularly difficult. Now, these are not loan sharks, so be careful there. The money is lent with specific conditions of use and a scheduled repayment, but the gist is that the microfinancer expects to receive repayment of the principal and make some profit on the loans or what we call the interest. And the loan amounts are small and the interest rates are low. So as I was saying before, it's important to distinguish between microfinances and loan sharks in that microfinances don't use the aggressive tactics that other forms of money lenders use. They are not aggressive. While in theory, the model is profitable for all parties, in practice, it can usually be quite difficult for microfinance providers to make a substantial profit, and some may even incur loss. However, the main aim is just to help those in need who would otherwise never have had access to this finance. It is giving them a platform and a first step towards economic independence. In many low-income economies, individuals with good ideas and a strong work ethic have been able to open their own business through the help of microfinancing. So we're going to leave this module there. In our next video, we will take quite an extensive look into another type of for-profit social enterprise called public-private partnerships, which is a business that is created in collaboration between the public sector or the government and the private sector, which are private businesses that can usually provide certain expertises. Okay, see you all soon.